Podcasts could be just audio or they could be audio and video, right? And I'm going to be focusing mostly on audio only here. Let me give you a little bit of my thoughts on this. I don't really get the video podcast idea. To me, that's a video or YouTube. I don't get why people want to watch people talk. Like I just, in a recorded sense, right? The beauty of an audio podcast is you don't have to look at anything. You could be driving, working, cooking, cleaning, walking, and still do the audio podcast, right? That's, to me, that's the real value of the podcast. Now, what you see is a lot of media outlets and personalities that are on radio or have a podcast. They'll record themselves and put it out on YouTube also, right? And they're like, well, hey, why not? I'm already here. Why don't I just record it and put it out there? So they've done a lot of that. So that's my view on a podcast. To me, should just be audio, right? Like there's a reason we don't watch radio on TV. We listen to radio. We don't watch radio. That's kind of the parallel for me. Okay.
There was a time that they did, though.
They did?
Back in the day, yeah.
Yeah.
Before I was born, but back in the day.
They would show it on TV?
Yeah. No. Oh. Yeah, they would show, well, there were films and show of people on radio, the radio program. They would put them on TV. Yeah. Weird, but yeah.
I see. Yeah, so it's not. See, if you're not watching it live, I mean, the fact that we're in this class live talking, that makes sense, right? It makes sense to see each other because we can interact in real time. But to watch somebody talk on a recorded thing doesn't do me any good because I can't do anything. I just want to listen to them. All right.
Okay. I got you.
So Kim recommends doing also a video casting class. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I do a class on how to do presentations well, which would really be helpful for that because I get into lighting and sound. You can record content, you can stream content, you can create YouTube videos. That class is perfect for that type of thing. So look for that one. All right, let's jump in here. Hey, Laura, good to see you. All right.
Good to be back again.
Yes, good. So podcasts, there's over 1 million podcasts and growing rapidly, and there's over 29 million episodes. I'm sure we're probably at 30 million by now. But the point is that it's a rapidly growing medium, right? Think of it as radio on demand. That's kind of a good way to think about it. You pick and choose when you want to listen to your stuff. People put out short form, long form podcasts. There's all kinds of topics out there as you go along. All right, 75% of the population in the US has heard the term, they're familiar with podcasting, and over half of the population has listened to a podcast. So although it's fairly new, it's fairly well adapted too. All right, some of the habits, 90% of it's done at home, 64% while driving. I do mine typically when I'm driving. It's something I can do while I drive. During COVID, my podcast listening went down drastically because I didn't drive as much. So I tend to do most of my podcast listening in the car. My favorite stat, 19% of listeners increase the speed. I do that. I love that. You can speed up or slow down the person when they're talking voice inside a podcast. Some people talk too fast. Some people talk too slow. I turn mine up as fast as I can before I start to not be able to comprehend. Because if it's too slow, my mind starts to think about other things and I get distracted and I'm not paying attention. My wife and I do not listen to podcasts at the same speed. We're at different speeds, so it's hard to share a podcast. One of us gets frustrated. And there's virtually an unlimited number of categories out there. If you can imagine it, somebody's doing a podcast on it. So it's there's a need and a desire for people to listen to all kinds of interesting and creative stuff. All right, I want to pause here and hear kind of what you guys are thinking about for your podcast. Like, what drew you to take this class? What were you thinking? What did you have in mind? Maybe you already have a podcast. Maybe you're thinking about a podcast. So let me see. Arnetta, what are you thinking?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
The purpose of my tuning in is to learn as much as I can because I'm going to be volunteering at a media center in Oregon City.
Okay.
And it was mentioned to me to consider doing a podcast. So I thought I would like to learn more.
Okay, great. Very good. Do you know what they would be what the topic would be?
I believe I would be given leeway to consider my own,
Okay,
and I would like to consider Native American issues because here in Oregon, the Grand Ronde tribe is refurbishing a former mill on a traditional Indian fishing site.
well, that's interesting. And the people around there would be very interested in that. So great.
They seem to have enough of a listener base. They broadcast council meetings and civic events. So there is enough of a demographic that tunes into the media channel.
Great. That's very interesting. Well, good for you. Gwinnetta, what are you thinking? This is going to be unique because you're unique, he said.
Words never die.
Right.
My podcast will be, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to combat the isolation of the COVID age.
Okay.
There's so many things now that are separating us. So I kind of want to pull people together, and the subjects will be different. It's called Life in the Key of G. G is one of my nicknames, right?
Yeah, I got you. I like it. That's clever.
Yeah, I'll have sometimes guests, sometimes not, and each day is a different topic, just to get people thinking and talking, or make you think about something, or just kind of that sounds so vague, but it's really not. No,
that's good.
I had COVID, and I was in the hospital for about 16 days in February. And the thing I realized is that so many people have had COVID, but they don't know about the things that go along with it. The mental changes, the attitudes people change. The fear that is not overt once you've had it, and we tend to separate and isolate. People don't speak to each other, that kind of thing. Okay, I'm gonna stop there, but that's kind of it. Yeah.
We should record your answer as part of your podcast, right? Some of your content. No, that's great. I like the motivation behind what you're doing too. That's really good. That's good. Yeah. All right, I'm going down the line here. Laura, are you there? Or might sometimes steps away. Christine.
Good
Christine.
afternoon.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, everybody. Hi. How are you, Kevin? Well, I was inspired to do my podcast due to, well, let's say first, I was motivated to do it. That comes from a different place.
Okay.
I was motivated to do it by my son, who is 28 this year. He has hobbies, and he suggested that I get one. So
okay.
I have been listening to my nieces. I have two nieces that do podcasts.
Yeah.
And I had tuned into theirs, and I thought, this looks like fun. Not only that, it's an opportunity to share.
Right.
I'm from the day and time when everything was on TV, and you either were on TV or you weren't. With the podcast, you get to share no matter who you are, no matter where you are.
Right.
And my podcast started the week of my birthday in April this year.
Okay. Good.
And I was giving myself a birthday present of a hobby. It's called Diamonds Gems. Diamond is my nickname.
Okay.
Basically, due to the things that I have gone through, the pressures and fire in life that have created the person I am today.
Yeah.
And Diamonds Gems is basically, the niche is pretty broad, sort of like Gwinnetta's, because gems are small, valuable things that I've taken from my life and I share with others.
Yeah. Great. Excellent. I love it. So is your son proud of